I really feel like I want people to know that I care, right? And one of my girlfriends said this saying to me, and I say it all the time now. People don't care what you know until they know that you care. And that's like super huge to me because it's like, Tony, I can have all this knowledge. I can be the smartest person in the whole wide world. And it doesn't mean anything if they don't feel like that you care about them.
Hello, beautiful people. I'm Alisha Payne with the Woman of Nation, here to elevate, educate, and empower women all across the world. I keep putting that out every week into the atmosphere, all across the world, to walk in their purpose, to live in passion, and to operate in power. We discuss all things that impact and improve the lives of women, from health to wealth, fun to faith, and family to future, and everything. And I do mean everything in between. If you've listened to any of these podcasts, you know there's nothing taboo at all that we can't discuss as women. And since the beginning of time, speaking of women, women have always made their presence known. They have always created contributions to change the lives of others as they imprinted their mark in this world. And so as we celebrate Women's History Month, we continue to celebrate these kind of incredible women. And today's guest is included in that incredible women that we're celebrating. She is making her mark and building a powerful legacy. She is a board certified women's health nurse practitioner. She is a BioT certified hormone optimizational provider. She is also, wow, a certified nurse midwife. And somehow she has time to be a co-founder and creator of Uzima Rejuvenation Station. This is the amazing Mrs. Toni Tipton. I'm looking at all these things, and sometimes when I look at people's bios, it just puts me in awe. Like, how is this woman getting all this done? So first, I should say welcome.
Thank
I'm
you.
I'm
Thank you.
I'm in awe of you already. Wow.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for being a guest today. I know you're going to have a lot of interesting and powerful things to say to encourage our listening audience and viewing audience. Since we on YouTube, we got a YouTube channel, y'all. And
Yeah.
so I always like to ask this question. What were you like as a child?
Um, that's interesting. I like to think that I was very observant.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was always like in the car looking out the window. I always wanted to know how things worked. And I'm kind of like that to this day, like lifelong learner. I want to know how things
Yes.
work and why they work and what they do. And I'm always studying and making sure I'm up to date on the newest stuff, especially in the women's health field. And
Yes, ma'am.
so I feel like I was always just trying to gain knowledge.
Always learning, always
Yes.
seeking, and I didn't even mention all the degrees that you hold. I mean, I guess I should have said all those, but you have some master's degrees and bachelor's degrees. You are like on top of your game. Now, and what I love about that question is it gets us to thinking about like how did our childhood translate into our adulthood,
Yes.
and for you to be a midwife, a nurse practitioner, and a co-founder of this wonderful rejuvenation station that we'll get into a little bit, you have to be observant. You have to be
Yes.
like a people person, right?
For sure. For sure. Yep.
When you think about just the midwife part, you bring in life into this world.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so you
So,
have to. Hmm.
um, I don't do deliveries anymore.
Okay.
But I still do prenatal care, which I love. I love being in that part of women's life, their life
Yeah.
cycle. So,
Where do you think this love came from? Like, to me, I always think of nurses as healers. Like, you either have that gift or you don't. You
for
know?
sure, for sure. And I think it's like discipleship, like when the
Yeah.
Bible said go out and make disciples of men, like it's like social work,
Mm.
right? You're going out into
Wow.
the
Yeah.
world and you're ministering to people. So this is like my ministry. And it's crazy. I feel like I've been this way my whole life, from my grandmother, my mother. It was always, kind of like your family growing up,
Yes.
having people, a lot of people turning around in the house, like so and so stayed at our house, we stayed at my
Right.
grandmother's, kind of thing, where you were always taking care of people. When I was like 12, I was a candy striper, that kind of stuff, always around the hospital, always into like healing and making people feel better.
Wow. So it's kind of in you. It not
Yes.
kind of. It's in you.
For sure, for sure. And I think the path of nursing, one day, my mother was like single mother of five. She didn't get her high school diploma or anything, but one day I stumbled across, it looks like she was trying to go to school at one point in her life, and she made the
Hmm.
dean's lists for nursing.
Your
And
mother
I did
did.
talk to her about it later in life, and she said she didn't have anybody to help her with her children. She didn't have the support, so she put off her dreams of being a nurse. And it was like super
Wow.
important for me to be a nurse because that's something my mom always wanted to be.
So you live in your mother's dream. Sometimes we kind of blow past that, but when you are your parents' dream, literally,
Yes,
how sometimes you have to sit in that you are
yes.
living your mother's dream.
Yep, and I tell people all the time I would not be here. All the things I've been able to accomplish, my mother has been with me every step along the way. Like, I'm indebted to her
Wow.
forever, and I make sure I take care of my mom for sure because I would not be able to
There
do
you
any of these
go.
things had it not been for my mom's support for sure.
And thank you. We'll take a minute to say thank you, Mom, and thank you to all the moms who have, we've been able to be on the shoulders and grow taller and wiser because of the sacrifices our mothers made for us. Oh,
Yes.
that's good. That's good. In addition to everything that we had stated that you have done and are doing, you're the co-founder of this amazing rejuvenation station called
Uzima,
Uzima.
yes.
Tell me what is the inspiration behind the name?
So, when we first opened it, we wanted it to be a place of like self care, healing, like kind of like a
Hmm.
place for women to come reset, rejuvenate. Like I'm a mother, I'm a full time wife, full time job. Like, what do I need, right? And there was
Right.
this place, like I want to have this place where I could come and reset. And so the name was super, super important to us. So
Yes.
Uzima means life in Swahili. And so that's why we picked
Uzima
that word.
life.
And then we picked Swahili because we wanted to say that we were black and very intentional about black women. Um, and
Wow.
in like a slight way of saying that, right?
Yes.
And so the life piece is all about giving people their life back, right?
Wow.
Like
Yes.
we're gonna get you your life kind of thing. And now we've transitioned a lot, into kind of like integrative, which is like all the little pieces of everything that we have built into Uzima along the way, being combined together and unified as like a whole, like whole person, holistic kind of thing is
Holistic.
where we've like shifted our focus.
Wow. So, what were some of the struggles that you had to overcome to create this masterpiece in the sense of a rejuvenation station? What was
Yeah,
some of the
so first of all,
struggles?
when you're trying to become a business owner, one of the really big things to get over is fear, right? So that's
Right.
and the naysayers. I remember when I first said I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
start this business, people were like, "No, you won't." Oh, okay. Like they don't take you serious.
Right.
Um, and then I had to realize along the way, everybody's not a boss. Everybody wants the lifestyle of
That's true.
entrepreneur, and it's a lot. People don't understand what it takes, and that's okay. And then I will tell you, along the way, I've learned nurses are nice, right? Like, it's just like,
Uh
oh, we're
huh.
nice all the time and we want everybody to feel good. But I'm learning to now, as a businesswoman, become strategic. I'm very
Yes.
intentional. One of my degrees, I have a bachelor's degree in chemistry, and I used to do analytical chemistry. So I'm overly analytical. I'm always looking at trends and data and things like that. And that has helped me tremendously in my business to be able to, ride the waves and things of, the ebbs and flows of being a business owner. And then a really hard thing that I had to learn along the way is just like everybody's not your friend, and you
Right.
know this it's not like a friendship thing when it comes to business. Like you got to be you really have to put your business first. And again, not being mean or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always about loving on people for sure in every
Right.
aspect of my life, but it's just like everybody's intentions aren't pure, and everybody's doesn't mean
That's
you
it.
well.
And you saw that when you started your business. That's why it's so good, in my opinion. I don't tell everybody my dreams,
Yeah, for
because
sure, for
there's
sure.
dream killers and snatchers, and people who want to annihilate you, just for having a dream, having the
Yep.
audacity to dream.
Yes, yes, yep,
So
yep.
how did you deal with them? How, and do you see that, a lot with where you are in life, or do you see a lot of haters?
For sure, for sure. But I have learned to remain like genuine, right? Me
Yeah,
being so genuine has actually worked in my favor, and people have grown to like love and trust me because they say I'm real, you know? And in
yeah.
the industry, you can come across as like salesy for sure,
Hmm.
especially when you mean somebody well. Like, hey, I'm doing this thing that's making me money, right? But it's also beneficial to you health wise. So it's like
Hmm.
this little tough thing of trying to convince them that they need this thing. So I've always just been genuine and real and raw, and that's why people are kind of drawn to me too. You know, people say all the time my spirit, like they want to be around
Yeah.
me. Even when people come to Uzima, it's almost like you got to put them out. Like, hey, or they're just coming to talk or whatever. Even in my day practice, like people will wait hours to see me if I get behind. Like, that
Well,
genuineness, the kindness, the heart that I
yeah.
have has really taken me really far in my industry and in my personal growth, career wise.
That's not a bad thing. And I know, as an entrepreneur, you if you haven't learned about time management, but giving of yourself, to
Hmm.
these individuals, means that you care, that you
Yes,
authentically
yes.
care, and that you love their well-being. You
Hmm.
have to be a people person in certain industries.
For sure.
I think I might have alluded to it earlier. Nursing is one of those. If you're not a people person, you should definitely not become a nurse,
Yes, yes,
because people are
yes.
people are coming to you with all kind of issues. And so
Yeah.
what you co-created, uh, people need to hear. Sometimes, like you said, this is ministry.
Hmm.
This is all
Yep.
ministry.
Yep. And you wouldn't even imagine the number of people that come in and just cry. For sure, when I get
Wow.
to talking about something and they become tearful because they're like, I've been talking to so and so, I've been telling my doctor this or that, and they weren't hearing me. It's
Right.
different, like listening and hearing, and like really genuinely being showing compassion, like that's just always how I've been my whole life. Like I said, my mother and my grandmother have always been that way. No, no strangers. You haven't met any
Right.
stranger, and you never know who God has brought them into your life or you into their life. I'm really
Absolutely.
big about that as well.
Absolutely. Wow. So let's talk about some of these services that you're offering. Now, I
Yes,
know we
ma'am.
can't hit on all of them. That's why we're going to give, out your website and things of that nature, because you do a lot. You and your co-founder, things I had never even heard of. I'm like, what?
Yes,
Honestly, I just like, what is that? I got to look that up. I had never even
yes,
heard of some of these things. But let's talk about your hydration therapy first.
yes.
Tell me
So
about what that's about.
hydration was our very first service. It was the reason we opened the business to begin with, right? So, hydration is becoming a big thing across the world for sure.
Hmm.
The United States in particular. So people are taking multivitamins and things like that. The reason you have to take a multivitamin every day is because your body breaks down more, usually most of what more than what you absorb. So
Okay.
IV hydration, muscle shots or nutrients that we give you directly in the vein, they go straight into your bloodstream, right?
Okay.
So let's say, for instance, if I wanted to give somebody vitamin D, I could give them 90 days of pills, or I could give them 4 to 6 weeks of high dose shots and straight into their bloodstream, into their
Oh,
muscle.
okay.
Yeah, so that's where the business started. And I will tell you, we're going into our fourth year. Over time, the evolution, again, as we move more towards integrative and the things that we do, making them be one whole thing, we've really started to focus on hormones. And that's my
Yes.
focus right now: hormone optimization, functional medicine, right? Where medicine is like, usually it's like, I'm checking your labs or whatever. I'm going to wait until you're sick, and then I react usually with medicine. Functional medicine is about keeping people well all the time so they don't get sick.
So it's a proactive
Yep,
measure.
and
And
that's kind of how we've shifted our focus a whole lot. So hormone optimization is a big piece of my practice now currently.
tell me
And
how that works. Like,
yes,
is it
yes.
just for
So a lot
women?
of women, you'll see there's a lot of talk about perimenopause and
Yes.
menopause, but also a lot of women don't know some of these mood disorders, even when you're in your 20s, well before menopause, are hormone related, and these hormones we're talking about are like B12, right? Your energy, vitamin D, which is like your
Yeah.
immunity, of course your hormones that we think of, estrogen, testosterone, but also
Yes.
like your iron, your ferritin, your thyroid, so many things. um
Wow.
and like I said, women will have symptoms even in my practice for years because
Really?
that's the way we were
Mm-hmm.
trained. They will have symptoms that scream hormones, but we'll check their hormone levels and it'll be like, oh, it's on the low end of normal, but it's normal, or it's on the high end of normal, but it's normal. And we always say this, we'll wait and see, we'll monitor it, continue to
Right.
monitor. But
Mm-hmm.
hormone optimization is about, no, I'm going to react now and keep your levels always optimal so you always feel well all the time.
So you're never when you're talking about the hormones optimization, is that right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
So you're not saying we're going to wait till you get to the high of normal or the low of normal. We're going to keep you at a like a
Optimal level all the
uh,
time. Yep. Yep.
really, and you're seeing that in women in their 20s and 30s.
Yes. So I remember when I first got my
Wow.
training in Atlanta, everybody that was coming in, we did hormones on like 70 people in one day. First of all, that was mind blowing to me because I'm like, gosh, look at the number of people here in one day that hormones are out of whack, right? Because
Yeah.
in America, like the food, everything, there's so many endocrine disruptors, right? The food,
Right.
the air, so I'm like, gosh, 70 people. So when people would come through and see me, I would say, how old are you? And I had two
Mm-hmm.
women, I will never forget, 26 years old. And I'm like, why are you guys here for hormone replacement? Because you think menopause, perimenopause.
Absolutely.
And they're like, both of them were like, we came off of our antidepressant. And I'm like, gosh,
Really. And that shifted their hormones.
yes, shifted their hormones. And again, like I said, if you have anxiety or depression, immediately sometimes they're thinking straight to meds. But
Right.
what I've learned with functional medicine is if you have a doctor that you're going to and they continue to add meds to your life, you need a new doctor. Like
Come on now.
medicine should
Aren't
be
we over
taking your
medicated?
medications away. Yes,
Right.
they should be taking your medicines away, not
It's
continuing to
something
add.
how most uh, uh, practitioners who's not operating in a holistic mindset will keep adding.
Yes.
I know when I went to my doctor a couple months ago, I said, "Listen, I want to be off of some of this stuff because it makes
Yeah.
no." To me, it makes no sense. And
Hmm.
so, I started looking at different holistic approaches and got my little beetroots and things of that nature. But, if you don't know, you just don't know. And America, we're just over medicated country in general.
Yep. And then you get on the med and it has side effects, and now you need another med for the side effects, and it's just ongoing and ongoing and ongoing for
Oh
sure.
gosh,
Yep. And then
that
right
is
in
so
alignment
true.
with that is weight loss, right? So that's a big
Right,
thing. You know how there's this big move for GLP-1s, you got Ozempic, you got Roe, all of this stuff is
right.
crazy. And I'm all about GLP-1s when they're when you're under medical supervision, not like
Hmm.
just getting it out here and you're rogue and you're out here just doing whatever you want. But
I wondered how that worked. Like,
yes.
when they're ordering online, are they going in for
Yeah,
check-ins?
not necessarily. Not necessarily. And there, although the side effects are rare with these GLP-1s, um, they can be severe if they're bad enough. And so when I
Hmm.
first rolled this out, I rolled that out before hormones. When I first rolled it out, I was very, very particular. Like I had a pharmacist review the data, the efficacy of the medicine I was
Yeah,
going to be using, all of that. Like I'm extra like that.
I
But I
love
had
it
saw so
though.
many
Uh-huh.
I had seen so many studies about how it was really helping obesity, and obesity is a major issue in the United States for sure.
Yes.
Um, but when I wrote it out initially, it was like, okay, all of these people are losing weight just from the medication, but not necessarily inspired to work out, not necessarily inspired to eat better or
Uh-huh.
whatever. And then once I started to get into the functional medicine and hormones, I was like, okay, let's back up, fix their hormones first. Now they
Right.
got the energy to work out, right? Now their mood is fixed. Now they really are starting to see really big drastic change when we combine hormones with those GLP-1s and weight loss, and people coming off of their diabetic meds, coming off of their hypertension meds,
Oh,
getting their
wow.
cholesterol down. Yeah, it's been this is like the most rewarding thing that I've done in
I
my
need to come to
career.
you.
Because like you just for you for instance, Alicia, like you're probably frustrated, especially when you start to get into perimenopause and you're telling your doctor, I can't
Hmm.
sleep. I got the brain fog. Brain fog was a
Right.
really big one for me. Like all of these things, and they're checking your lab, then they're like, you're fine, we'll see. Just walk more or just read a book
Yes.
or journal or
Hmm.
whatever. I'm like, no, I'm not fine. And
Something
then
is
people
not
get
right.
frustrated.
Mm.
Yes. And you're like begging and pleading, like, I know my body, I know something's not right. And never ever do people think, check their hormones, or insurance won't cover it. That's
Okay.
another big issue. So, yeah, like I said, the company that I work with is BioT, and I love them. It's all about functional medicine and optimization, and it's been so rewarding. Like working at
I love to
Uzima
hear
is
you
not like a
say that.
job. It's not like a
Uh-huh.
job. It's just like again a ministry, and I love being able to pour into my clients and see life changing things happen to them in their relationships. Right, a
Right.
lot of women will go through, you know, divorce and things later in life. And now I'm telling women, hold on, before you divorce that man, check your hormones, check his hormones, right? Because men go through what's called menopause. Their
Right.
testosterone starts to go down around 30. Like, let's check all that stuff first. And my husband and I
That is
like to
That's
think we had the
interesting.
greatest relationship, but we've definitely strengthened our relationship for sure since we've both balanced our hormones.
That is interesting for you to even have said, especially as couples. So I take it couples do come in.
Yes. So one will usually come in because they're like, let me see about this first. And they'll bring their partner back in like a week or two. Like, hey, get my husband in here. Or a husband comes and he's like, get my wife. And then I have a physician that comes. She actually travels all the way from Cleveland.
Oh,
And she
wow.
said, why would you give me this and I'm single? Like I need, like now I need a man because I'm so
So
happy
what is
and
it doing? Tell me
libido.
this. Okay.
Yeah, so it's gonna help your
Okay.
libido, your mood. All of a sudden, you want to go out and do
Woo-hoo.
things. Yes, it is wonderful. And I only do bioidentical hormones at Uzima. If people want synthetic things, I usually see them in my private practice at my day job. But
Uh-huh.
bioidentical things are things plant
Natural.
based,
Hmm.
identical to what's in your body already. So that's what I again at Uzima I like to do things that are more natural. And then I never do anything there that I wouldn't do myself. So
I like that you said that because so many times I know it's always
yes,
practicing medicine, but
hmm
I want to know, did you get some of this stuff done?
yes,
How did it work for you?
yes,
What's
hmm
your experience with it? So it's
yep,
good that you said that you wouldn't do on somebody else what you wouldn't have done to yourself.
yep, for
Tell me
sure.
about this opus fractional plasma. What is that about?
Yeah, so that's skin resurfacing. We do dabble a little bit in aesthetics. Um, so sometimes people, like wrinkles, fine lines, things like that. We have well, it's not laser, kind of like a laser machine that does like skin stuff. Even scars and stretch marks, things like that. It can help with
Really?
that.
I mean, what don't you do?
And that's the thing. We try to be one stop shop for sure. For women for sure, and then men come there and benefit as well. Yep, and we have massage and facials, all kinds of stuff.
Sounds like you are having a lot of positive feedback from
Yes.
these individuals that are coming there to be rejuvenated, but
Mm-hmm.
getting more out of life. Sometimes when you're talking about the hormones, it can shift your whole lifestyle if you don't know that they're out of alignment with where they're supposed to be. So
Mm-hmm.
it's refreshing to hear you say that you check that in men and in women, and you start to balance it in a natural way.
Mm-hmm.
You also like I said, when do you have time to do all this? But
I have
you
a
also,
lot. I have a very good support system. I
there
really
you
do.
go. It's just
Um,
beautiful. This is
yes,
one thing I like what you've done. You created the um, Black Midwives, where
yes.
you champion for maternal health and infant vitality. It's a program that you created. Why was that so important?
So,
It's,
my first love is midwifery. I was a midwife before I became a women's health nurse practitioner. And something near and dear to my heart is infant mortality, right? So, there's not a lot of black midwives across the country, especially in Ohio. So, for a while, I thought I was the only black midwife. And actually, my partner, she and I were like the only two black certified nurse midwives in Southern Ohio for a while. But infant
wow.
mortality is the death of a baby before their first birthday. And so, as a midwifery student, when I found out that black babies were like 4 times as likely to than their white counterparts, and black women were more likely to die during labor, I got fixated on like what could I do? What could I do? And recently, within the last couple of years, I started an award-winning program at my day job called the COM program, Compassionate and Loving Maternity. It was featured in a documentary as well called American Delivery. We were able to decrease our low birth weight from as high as 14% down to 3 at one point. Like,
Really?
yes,
That is
so
astonishing.
yes, so in Butler County where I live, they have high infant mortality rates, and the Bethesda Foundation, or BI3, put out a proposal for infant mortality program, and a lot of people reached out to me. And I'm not a nonprofit, but we became their very first for-profit business that they funded, and we got $400,000 grant to do
Oh
infant
my
mortality work
goodness.
in Butler County.
You didn't say $400. You said $400,000.
$400,000.
Oh wow,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
is that's incredible because it seems like there's like this knowledge that's not being passed on with these high mortality rates in the black community. What is like the number one contributor to, or if there's a number one to infant mortality rates being um, so much higher than like you said, the European or white counterparts?
Yeah, so a lot of it is systemic racism, right? The care
Mm,
that black women receive in clinics, the care that they receive in hospitals, the housing, all these social determinants of health that have racism embedded in the systems, housing, transportation, employment, right?
yeah.
Basically leading to chronic stress and black people just in general. The father missing, things like that from the family, removing the
Mm-hmm.
black father from the family. So my com program, what we ended up doing is we started focusing on the patient's relationships, right? We were like, hey,
Right.
where's the father at? Let's talk to him. Let's tell
Absolutely.
him how important he is, how valuable he is. We started teaching the patients love languages. We started
Mm,
giving them prenatal massages. We were doing things to keep them calm. Like, how can I keep you
yes.
calm during your pregnancy so you remain pregnant as long as you can? Because preterm birth is one of the contributors to low birth weight, infant mortality. So we were
Mm-hmm.
like, how do we keep these women calm? So the things that they stress about in their pregnancy, their man, right?
Right.
So
Right.
we got to get that. Their finances.
Mm-hmm.
So we started focusing on budgeting, things like that. Like it was coming at them from every direction with love, basically love. Essentially,
Oh
we were
wow,
loving on
that's
these women,
powerful.
and we started to see these changes in our infant mortality numbers. It was crazy, and we've
That
we've
is
been
powerful.
talking about this all over the United. We've been invited to speak on our program in a number of states. Like I said, our clinic was featured in a documentary.
I'll put that link. I'll put that link down in the description
Yes.
so people can see that.
Mm-hmm.
That what you're saying is so powerful, and everything that you say is it's almost making me just get emotional. Uh, Everything that you say, there is like love interwoven in everything that you say that you're doing for these people. I am getting emotional. because I think we lose too many babies,
We do.
and we lose too many mothers, you know, and you're offering solutions, not just, seeing what the problem is. You're offering solutions,
Yes.
again, a holistic approach with,
Yes.
connecting the
Yes.
families and
Yep.
the resources that they need.
Yeah, and I will tell you, like I said, when I first found out there wasn't a lot of black midwives, when I found out these black babies were dying, it was keeping me up at night because I felt like
I'm sure.
obligated. Like, this is my, oh my God, this is my responsibility to try to fix this. But then I had to say to myself one day, how do you
Wow.
fix racism, right?
Right.
And it came to me one day. I was seeing patients at a homeless clinic that we partner with at my day job. And every week I would go to this homeless clinic and I would see this couple out there on the bench, waiting on the shelter to open in the morning. Um, and they would be like laughing and hugged up and all of this stuff. And I said, they have the audacity. And I don't, this is so sad that I thought this, but like they have the audacity to be happy. Like, how are y'all happy and you're homeless and this and that and other? And I just began to think about black people, our history in the United States. We never had anything, but we always had love, right?
Right.
And that's the
Right.
thing that's been under attack, right? I'm going to put the black woman against the black man. I'm going to put the black mother against the black child. The black woman against the black woman, the black man against the black man. And I had an epiphany and I was like, oh my God, black love. That's the answer. We have to love
Wow.
each other, all of our relationships. The way I love my husband, the way I love my children. It's kind of like the antidote to racism. And it's so crazy because I can be out in the world with my husband or my children and we're like showing affection to each other, holding hands or whatever. Or
Right.
laughing. And people are like astonished by it, like, oh my God, like, hi, is this your
Really?
son? Like, they'll come up to you like, is this your son? Like, oh my God, you guys like love each other so much. And I'm
Because you
like,
love
yeah.
them. Right.
Like black
Right.
people, like we're capable of love. you know
Absolutely.
but
Absolutely.
that's
And
that's just
isn't
it.
that
Like when we
something?
don't have any money, when we don't have the resources, when we're being blocked out of certain places in job, pay grades and this that, and the other,
Right.
love can overcome all of that.
Mm, that is preaching all day, every day, all day long. Love is the cure. It really
Yep.
is. Authentic love, godly
Yes.
love.
Yes.
Not this fake stuff people say is love, but a deep reverence for humanity.
Yes.
I think that's what is missing, and we've gotten so far from, just love, just pure love, loving for one another. I don't care, as my mother would say, I don't care if you're green. I'm gonna
Right.
love on you.
Right.
You know what I love is that you are connected, making all these connections, and you're doing your research. I want to say it like this. Oh, it's my show. I guess I can say anything I want. You so smart.
Yes, and since I was little, like I said, I've always been a lifelong learner, and to this day, even though I'm 10 years in of being a nurse practitioner, I
Yes,
still
ma'am.
come home and study because I want to be able to provide, not to make decisions for my clients, but to provide them as much information so they can make an informed decision. Not just
Right.
because I told you to, but
Right.
sometimes I'll tell people, like, listen, you know what? Don't come back here, right? I don't want you to do this
Yeah.
thing because
Yeah.
I said, go research this thing and question your doctor, question me,
Absolutely.
like
Absolutely.
forever. I'm always trying to learn more and more and more.
Be your best advocate for yourself.
Yes.
You have been a wealth of knowledge. And I know we didn't touch everything that you offer because you sell products. I know my big brother Timmy is in love with this beard products that you have. But you sell products, and where can people find you at?
So I am on social media. My personal Instagram page, I'm Toni Tipton, CNM, which is Certified Nurse Midwife, WHNP Women's Health Nurse Practitioner. We're Uzima Rejuvenation Station on Instagram and Facebook.
You
Yeah.
throwing out them letters. I was about to say elemental P.
Yes, yes. And it's so funny because I always joke with people. I got all of these letters and credentials, but when I come home, I'm just LT's wife. You know, Kevin Mason Noah, Judah Juby's mom. That's it.
But
That's my favorite. Those are my favorite
those are,
titles, wife and mother, for sure.
but you worked hard for those
I
titles, and you
did. I
should be
did.
proud of those titles. You
And
know,
I don't play
you
about them.
worked
Like
for 'em.
I got to take it serious. You know, you got to take it serious.
Got to take it serious. Well, you have been taking a lot of things serious, and I'm just excited about what you're really creating in the world. Like how you're leaving your footprints on this earth is just amazing to me, that you're getting so much done. And again, it's all done in love. This is the last question. Whether people are at your rejuvenation station, Uzima,
Yes.
right? Whether they're at Uzima, whether I know before we started this podcast, you said you had somebody shadowing you. In all the scopes and hats that you wear, what is the one thing that you want people to walk away feeling from you and from what you and your partner has to offer? What is that one thing you want them to walk
So
away
more
feeling?
than anything, like I said, sometimes you can come across as salesy, and the thing that I'm doing, people are always like, "Is this a gimmick? Is she really, you know?" But over the years, I really want people to know that I care, right? And one of my girlfriends said this saying to me, and I say it all the time now: people don't care what you know until they know that you care.
Right.
And that's like super huge to me, because it's like, Tony, I can have all this knowledge. I can be the smartest person in the whole wide world. And it doesn't mean anything if they don't feel like that you care about them.
Well, that is so true. Tony, you are a powerful woman. It's certain people that I always say, I want to have that person back on. You are one of those women, because I'm just learning, and I feel your spirit. I feel that you are genuine in what you're saying. And I love when people are just authentic and they give their whole selves to whatever they're doing at that time. You give your whole self to healing people, to bringing people joy, wisdom, and just love. And I thank you so much, Miss Toni, for being on a Woman Up Nation, where we seek to elevate, educate, and empower women all across the world. I start with that, I end with that. To walk in their purpose, to live in their passion, and to operate in their power. And you are operating in your power. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, this is the first. It won't be the last. You have a beautiful rest of your evening, okay, Miss Toni?
Thank you.
Thank you.